get started 2 seconds early today, so we'll have more time. This is N4LQ calling CQ, the Old Friends Net. The Old Friends Net is an amplitude modulation AM roundtable net that meets here on 3715 on Sundays at 4 p.m., Tuesdays at 9 a.m., and Thursdays at 9 a.m. We are a good place to find parts, talk about technical problems with our vintage equipment, which we love and adore most of the time when it works. And I've been having some problems lately with them, but I got a backup online ready to go just in case. And hopefully things will hold up pretty well. I'm running the AF-67 Elmac and the AL-82 amplifier and the horizontal loop antenna. Name is Steve, QTH, Shelby, North Carolina, and we're ready to go, so let's go ahead and start the check-ins. Give me a call now if you would like to precipitate.
Good afternoon, Steve, WA4LLR.
W4KR.
KZ4 Bravo.
WS2U.
Oh, right there, IUQ. Who's the other station?
WB4NKL.
Gotcha, Cliff. Go ahead. Keep on checking in.
KN4R.
K1VVC.
November 4 Alpha Kilo.
WA4EVK.
WA4FJQ.
W4MEC.
All right, who's out there waiting for for the end? This N4LQ. Anybody else? Go ahead and check in.
KJ4YEV.
Okay, real good. Good orderly check-in. Here is what I have. If you would take a pencil, pen, and a piece of paper and write these down in the order by which they are read. Let's see here. WA4LLR, W4KR, KZ4B, WF2U, KF4IUQ, KG4. There we go, KG. Yeah, Mark. KG4IUQ, WB4NKL, KN4R, K1VVC, N4AK, WA4EVK, WA4FJQ, W4MEC, and KJ4YEVAL at the tail end. And who else do we have out there? Anybody? Well, okay, snooze or lose. That's about it. Real quick down the list, LLR, KR, 4B, 2U, IUQ, NKL, 4R, BVC, AK, EVK, FJQ, MEC, and YEV. So I came up with kind of a side topic today. If anybody has got any input on vitamins and supplements that they have found to work, I'm interested in hearing about it, and others may be also. Whatever it is, what ailment ails you, what has actually helped as far as vitamins and supplements, or maybe you don't believe any of them work. I don't know. I really don't. So if you got a comment about that, that would be a good topic to discuss today. And I did some pretty in-depth troubleshooting around here. I've been plagued with low power lately on just about everything for the past 6 or 8 months, or maybe even longer, it seems like. And I finally got mad and tracked it down to a piece of coax, a 25-foot long length of RG58 Radio Shack coax that somehow inadvertently got mixed into the lot here under the table, and it was on the output side, where on the shack side, we'll say, of the SWR meter, so I didn't see any anomalies in SWR to speak of, but it was attenuating 3 dBs, in most cases half the power, especially on the low power rigs that ran only 20 watts. I was only getting 10, and on. So boy, was I glad to find that, and now I've had to put an attenuator in series with this Elmac to tame the beast, to keep the power down. So I felt a lot better after that, and then last night I was getting ready for the net on 160 and tested everything, and then when I keyed up the AF-67, there was no power, and the VFO had decided not to work, and I switched over to another rig real quick, but turned out to be, apparently it's the band switch, needs to be cleaned, but the VFO part of that band switch is in a location that no human has ever seen, I don't think. It is totally enclosed, bolted over, gears, chains, and everything around it. I can't even get the nozzle of a WD-40 can in, so what to do, but right now it's working. So, Cliff, go ahead. Cliff, Dave, WA4LLR, N4LQ.
Oh man, we got to get you some vitamins and supplements quick. N4LQ. And the old friends, WA4LR, good afternoon to everybody. We got 48 degrees and bright sunshine, a breeze up here in the eastern part of Yancey County. Running the RT-13, receiving on the HQ-180. Everybody sounds good. Seems like we have very good band conditions, strong signals all the way around. The only supplement that I know of that has worked in any fashion for me is local honey for allergy. Now, I will swear by that. If you're troubled with allergies in the spring, local honey is one of the best treatments for that I've ever seen. Other than that, I'll be honest with you, I can't tell much difference when I take vitamins or when I take minerals, or a lot of different things for arthritis, this, that, and the other. I can't tell it does much for me, but that just may be me, and something may be working wonderfully for someone else. And if so, more power to you. I've got a question for the net. I was watching a video on YouTube about ham clock, and I know there's a program you can get. I know there is a standalone, but this video was showing this little microcomputer that had ham clock and a few other ham programs loaded on it, and the guy was producing the computer, loading the programs, and selling it for $49. And I'm just trying to figure if that's still available, because if it is, that seems like one heck of a deal. But I don't know if anybody's had any experience with it, or if anybody knows anything about it. The standalone version of ham clock on the little dedicated computer. Not that all you need is a monitor or a high-def TV. Anyway, enough about that. Stan, here it comes. W4KR, WA4LLR.
Okay, Dave, good afternoon. Had to chuckle, Dave. WA4LLR and the old friends. Sunday afternoon, old friends gathering. This W4KR, I see by the numbers, you've got 14 14 folks on here this afternoon. That's pretty good. Let's see. 49 degrees is the temperature. I have the Valiant on today. And yes, I know the low frequency end of the thing is 400 cycles, Steve. Thank you. We're going to get to that one of these days. I've got a couple of other things that need fixing with this thing before I do that. But I'm looking for some high voltage mica capacitors that are nigh on to impossible to find, either doorknobs or just heavy 6 kV micas. Hard to find. Anyway, stuff to take. When I left the food business, which was nigh on to 20 years ago now, we were spending about $150 million a year in advertising, and we knew pretty much to the penny, if we put another 100,000 in advertising, how much what the yield would be, what we'd get out of it in terms of added production. And I look at Balance of Nature, who advertises incessantly, and I look at the Pillow Man, who advertises incessantly, except the last couple of months he's backed down a little bit. And it doesn't make any sense to me what these folks are doing. Obviously, Balance of Nature has figured out how to do it, because they know it takes a high intensity of advertising to do anything. The only thing I know that works, and it works consistently, I like Dave's idea for honey, for allergy. That's a good one. One that works for me is something called Glenlivet. KZ4B, W4KR.
Okay, W4KR in the group. This is KZ4 Bravo. Fine business, Stan. Speaking of health food, and this touches on Popeye. When I was a kid, I hated spinach. And now I really like it sprinkled with Parmesan cheese. And so that's how I get a lot of my green veggies. And so that's my recommendation for health food. I don't know why I hated it so much then, and I like it so much now. Shifting gears, the handle is John. The QTH is on the east side of Lake Norman, and we are transmitting with a T150 night transmitter, screen grid modulated, feeding an Ameritron AL-1500, and in turn that is going directly into a inverted B resonant on 80 meters, up about 75 feet at the apex on my crank-up tower. So that's the rundown here. And I guess I need to pass it on over to Mir. WF2U in the group, KZ4 Bravo, over.
Roger, KZ4 Bravo. And the net, this is WF2U. Good afternoon, everybody. Good copy. Strong signals, everybody. And we were in Gowensville near Landrum, out in Greenville County, South Carolina. The name is Meir, M-E-I-R, just for those who might be new here. And I'm transmitting on the Heathkit DX100B and receiving on a national NC300. The antenna is an end-fed half-wave 80 meter antenna, about 45 feet high. It's nice and sunny out, but not too warm. It's 46 degrees right now. And hello. Okay. And I hope that I'll be putting on the Gonset G76 on the air today. But since it had a problem, the meter kind of fell apart. I guess the internal glue dried out, and when I pulled the transmitter receiver out of storage, parts of the meter fell out. The movement is okay, but the bezel separated from the body and the glass fell out. So I had to glue everything, and the glue is not dry yet. So it's not on yet. I glued everything earlier, a few hours earlier, but I let it cure a little bit longer. So I hope the audio is okay. And it goes to KG4IUQ. This is WFDU.
This is KG4IUQ, Mark in Shelby. Mayor, your sound is good here. Very clear, strong signal. All the signals are good so far. I went to church today with my wife. Enjoyed that. And Steve has asked about a vitamin supplement that I like, and I can't really give that because I don't take anything, but I know that anytime throughout my years that I have felt kind of maybe nervous or anxious, if I get some kind of exercise that gets my heartbeat going a little bit, you know, and keep it up for about 20 minutes, it has always helped me. Never has failed. Sometimes it's difficult to do that, to find time to do it. I've been doing this Old Friends Net for a year now. It's hard to believe, you know. I cannot believe that I checked into this net and have been doing this long. Gone through a lot of changes in the way that I think of amateur radio, actually. I'm going to turn it over to Cliff, WB4NKL in the group. This is KG4IUQ.
KG4IUQ, it's WB4NKL. Cliff, located in Limestone, Tennessee. And today I'm running a DX40 Heath kit, driving a pair of 813s into a 160 meter dipole. So a little bit different setup here. As far as the vitamins, I take D3, E, and fish oil, and that's all on the doctor's recommendations, and I have no idea whether it works or not. He looks at all the, you know, the blood work and recommends this and that, so I guess I'm doing it to keep the doctor happy. And Dave, I have no idea what the ham clock is, or never heard of it before, so I'll have to do some investigation on that one. So I'll send it on down to Brian. Go ahead, Brian. KN4R. It's WB4NKL.
Okay, Cliff, very good. WB4NKL and Sunday Old Friends. This is Brian, KN4R, Sherrills Ford, North Carolina, where it's 50 degrees and sunny. I'm on the GRC9 today, helped with the little RM Italy HLA 300 amplifier, running about 65 watts or so. But everybody's coming in just great. And I take B12 for energy, and D3 because my doctor says I'm low on D. So, and the brand is Pure, P-U-R-E, comes in little white bottles. It's the best that we've K1VVC in the group, KN4R.
Thank you very much, Brian. KN4R in the group, K1VVC. My wife's a beekeeper, and I do eat a lot of honey that from her hive. I didn't have any allergies before. I don't have any now. I don't take any other supplements. My doctor's not a big believer, so I guess everything's okay. I'm running the Johnson 500, and I just changed out receivers before the net to one of my favorite receivers, and probably one of the best vacuum tube receivers ever made, since it was like at the very end of vacuum tube receivers, an ITT Mackie Marine 3010C. And it's nice to have it back on the air again. I've got a couple of things that are available from Lee's collection of gear that I want to find out if anybody may be interested in. The two Astron power supplies, and I figured the price at about 1/3 of what the going price is. One's an Astron 20A to the 20 amp supply for $65, and the other is an Astron 35. It's a 35 amp supply for $100. The new price match, $322, believe it or not. These are both linear supplies, so they're a little heavy, and I won't be able to ship them, but I can bring them to the lunch. And I just let everybody know that's what I've got. Glenn, and I hope I'll see a few guys up at Dalton Hamfest this weekend. N4AK, K1VVC.
Okay, John. K1VVC in the group. November 4 Alpha Kilo. Well, I'm giving my Johnson 500 a rest this afternoon. I'm on the TS2000 AL-1500 G5RB, and 51 degrees over here, mostly cloudy and sunset, which is about 15 minutes north of Pickens, South Carolina. On the supplements, at age 83, the doctor says the best ones for you are a B12, a D3, and if you're on statins, you should take CoQ10. So that's what I'm on. Steve, glad you found the bad coax. Sometimes we forget about the basics. I do. Had a lot of fun yesterday. 10 meters was open most of the day. So I operated a little bit of slow scan with a fella in Brazil with P5 images, perfect images. And instead of chasing DX, for instance, I talked to Wales, W-A-L-E-S, yesterday. And then if you have QRZ on your computer and you look the guy up, it's on Google Maps. And then you can click on Google Maps, and any historical sites, Google has made pictures of historical sites. A lot of them you can go into the site, and it has a 360-degree format. You just take your mouse and turn 360 degrees. So I'm finding that is very, very interesting, and that's adding to enjoying working DX. So, neighbor, WA4EVK, November 4 Alpha Kilo.
N4AK in the group, WA4EVK. Thank you, Glenn. Yeah, 10 meters has been kind of interesting, especially for the AM guys. I actually worked Portugal on 29.2 here. I think it was yesterday. Crazy. Last thing I expected. I was actually looking for a stateside contact. By the way, I'm running AF-68 into a Swan Mark 1, receiving on an SDR receiver. Antenna is an 80-meter in-fed half-wave and I run right now looks like about 300 watts carrier. I've been enjoying the outside, but I haven't gotten to any antenna work. The band's quiet, contacts are strong today. And with that, I think it goes to FJQ. Steve, correct me if I'm wrong. WA4EVK.
WA4EVK, this is WA4FJQ. Okay, thanks, Boone. Copying everybody fairly well. Some stations a little weak down in South Carolina, Mir and Glenn and so forth. And Boone, you're a little bit weak for me too, so I think you turned it over to me. Got a lot of noise here. Spent the afternoon trying to figure out why I wasn't getting any signal output at all. It turns out that the remote antenna switch from MFJ has failed yet again. So that took a couple hours to try to trace that back and got that out of the circuit. So hopefully I'm getting a decent signal out. At any rate, as far as vitamins and so forth, I take a handful. Being a pathologist, or at least I was a pathologist, on gastric biopsies from elderly patients, people up in the late 70s, 80s, and so forth, you see occasionally a condition called gastric atrophy. If anybody's interested, look it up on the internet and read about it. Gastric atrophy can cause a lot of problems, vitamin deficiencies, B12 deficiencies, folate, and so forth, all sorts of things. So I take a handful. Mostly, I'd say the most important one is vitamin D. There's a fair amount of literature that supports taking vitamin D as opposed to some of the other vitamins where it's mostly advertising, that kind of thing. But at any rate, that's my 2 cents worth on this go-around. So let me turn it over to Charlie. And Charlie sent you an email about that Yaesu YP100 monitor scope. If you want me to bring it down to Myrtle when we get together, I can bring it. Otherwise, just let me know. So I'll turn it over to you. W4MEC, this is WA4FJQ.
Okay, Tom, WA4FJQ in the group, W4MEC. Good afternoon, everybody. It's about 48 degrees here, beautiful day outside, clear sky. Started out pretty overcast when we headed out this morning to go pick up our daughter and take her to work. Her car is still out of service, and we headed out of here about 5 minutes to 7. So, but we did go out and get some breakfast, and then got home. And I just got back a little bit ago from picking her up from work and taking her home. So hopefully the car will be back in service tomorrow. They found one of the problems and said it was a wiring issue, which is odd, but they fixed that, and now they're going to attack the compressor and compressor clutch tomorrow, 5-hour job. So hopefully they'll have it done and we can bring it to her tomorrow and we won't have to keep driving to Mill Spring. Let's see. Moon, I totally forgot about Tuesday night last week on the 6-meter net. Just 100% slipped my mind. Wait a minute, I went to the gun club last week. Never mind. So is that right? Yeah, that's right. That's why I wasn't on there. Okay, let's see. Vitamins and supplements. Well, first off, I know Tom is a doctor there, but who made the comment? BBC made this comment. Let's see. About the doctor not thinking much of vitamins or supplements, but the number one thing about doctors is they know absolutely nothing about nutrition, and you don't want to listen to a doctor when he talks about the food you should eat and stuff like that, because usually they get it wrong big time. But when it comes to vitamins, the man-made multivitamins are not as good as the natural, but the natural you've got to be careful on. Make sure they're good natural and not something from China. And you also have to do a little research on synergism, because things like taking vitamin E robs your body of vitamin A. So if you take an E supplement, you got to back it up with some A. And let's see, we take several different kinds, but the basic C, D, E, A, and calcium. Men actually need, well, women need calcium, but men need calcium too. Calcium and zinc combination, and also a B. I forgot about B. Did I say B? Yeah, B. And there's a special kind for women. There's a special B that's a little different for women, if you're going to, and all natural, of course. But the number one thing that we use is flax oil, which we get from Barleans. It's all cold pressed, not cooked or nothing. We get it from a place called Vitacost, and it's about the cheapest place. You can find it in health food stores, but it's very expensive in a health food store and questionable quality, but Barleans is number one, and get it in the liquid form, because a tablespoon, you got to take about 18 of those little gel caps if you want a tablespoon. But that right there is, we call it the golden elixir, because it cures all kinds of issues with muscles and joints and all that. And I was facing shoulder surgery. It was so bad I was walking around with my thumb hooked in my belt loop because I didn't want my arm to move. And after about taking the flax oil for about 2 weeks, it totally went away. And I haven't had any issues for the years I've been taking it. And sometimes I get a little lax, and it takes about a week. If I don't take it for a week, if I forget, my soul will start to twinge, and then I take my tablespoon again, and that cures that. So done a lot of research on it, but all natural, and is the way to go. And they also say that too much vitamin A is bad for you. That's too much man-made vitamin A. That's the one that could be harmful, but natural vitamin A, not a problem. Anyway, that's my 20 cents on that one. KJ4YEV, W4MEC.
JAL. This is KJ4YEV. Thank you, Charlie. It's a nice day down this way. 53 degrees here in Gastonia and sunny. A little bit nippy, but not too bad. And regarding the supplements, Steve, the only supplements I take are zinc and selenium. I take zinc because it's supposed to boost your immune system. And I take selenium because it's supposed to be good for your urinary tract. I do have some prostate trouble, but knock on wood, I haven't been sick in quite a few years. The last time I was sick was when COVID rolled around, and when it first came around, I took it. Of course, I know other people that have had it 3 and 4 times, but I only had it once. But I do take zinc and selenium, and I'll echo what Dave said about the local honey being good for your allergies. I love good honey. We've got several beekeepers in this area, and I buy honey from them all the time. I put it in my coffee every morning. That's what I sweeten it with, and I love it. So I think it does help your allergies, and I have allergies pretty bad in the summertime, spring and summer, so I believe it does help. And with that, let's see, looks like I'm at the end of the list, so I'll pass it back to Net Control. So Steve, N4LQ to take it. This is KJ4YEV.
Okay, K4JAL, go ahead and make one.
Everybody, Steve, K4JAL. I was late in getting in because I finally got my little SDR transmitter put together and successfully loaded from the C compiler down to the radio computer. That's as far as I've gotten. I've loaded the ASCII table, but I'm thrilled. Hope everything works. I got a long way to go, though. There's a lot of setup from here. I'll get out of the way now and let the net proceed. I'll say 7-3, and I guess back to you, Steve, N4LQ, K4JAL.
Well, congratulations, Jimmy. Anybody else want to check in? Heard. This N4LQ, the old friends net, ready to start round 2. Thanks to everybody for the input, especially the specific ones that help. And it looks like it's a winner for honey, local honey that is. You don't want to get something from China. Chinese bees are no good. And I have seen that do miracles. My dad had he had a little bit of diabetes, and he got a sore on his foot, and the doctor could not get rid of it. I went to the a produce place down the street that had local honey, and he put that on his foot, and within a matter of a week, it was cured. And the doctor was awe-stricken. He couldn't believe it. So that stuff works. Flax oil, I know nothing about, but I'm going to research it from Vitacost. Looks a little complicated here, and maybe more detail than I need, but arthritis is a problem for me, and I think that would be something worth trying. Vitamin D, I have researched that, and I've been taking D3 plus K2. It's combined into a little, those things are so tiny, it's hard to imagine what's in them, but yep, D2 with K2 in it. And then for neuropathy, I have been told to take lipoic acid, and particularly the R type, which is natural, and I have found that to do absolutely nothing. And also vitamin 12, B12, and I took that for a couple of months and went and had a blood workup, and I was way over what the vitamin 12 level was supposed to be, and it wasn't doing anything, so I quit taking it. So I didn't want to, you can actually OD on vitamin 12, and it can cause neuropathy type symptoms, nerve pain. So I backed off of that and kind of gave up on it. Let's see here. What else have I got? Stan, you mentioned something that it was unintelligible to me, that you, right there at the end, you mentioned taking something, and I missed what that was. So I'll leave that open. And okay on the spinach and cheese Popeye medication. That's good, John. And fish oil always pops up. I tell you what, you can think of any ailment you can imagine, from gout to headaches or whatever, and go to Google and say, will fish oil help X this? Fill in the blank, and it will come back and say, yes, it does. It does. Every time. And vinegar is the same way. And it's just one of those things. It seems like everybody out there thinks it does something, and I don't know. But my grandpa never took a vitamin. He lived to be 96, and the only thing he ate in the last 10 or 15 years that I knew him was hominy. He just ate hominy, and that was it. And that stuff has probably, I don't know, starchy. I don't think it's got much vitamin in it, and he may have put some honey on it, maybe, I don't know. But that's about all he ever ate. Didn't have any teeth. So there you go. Rigs all sound good. Mears DX100 sounds great and powerful, and everybody's signal is almost the same level. It's kind of weird. I'm glad to hear that. I'll check one more time. Anybody want to check in? Give me a call real quick.
4QE.
K4QE, we'll let you get one real quick there, Tony, and glad to hear you. Where you been?
Good afternoon, Steve, and to everyone. I've been listening since the beginning of the net, so I won't go through the whole list, but I hear everyone just fine. This is Tony in Liberty, North Carolina. I've been ill this week. That's why I haven't been on the air much, but that's why my voice probably sounds a little raspy, so please forgive me. But this is one subject that I'm very passionate about with regard to supplements, and I couldn't help but say something. I was put on a vitamin D supplement by my doctor, and she had me on a 5,000 IU supplement. And later, a few years after that, I had a heart attack and was put on Lipitor, otherwise known as Atorvastatin, to control my cholesterol, which of course is a major contributor to heart disease and was the cause of my heart attack. Well, I later found out, and my cardiologist did not even know this, but vitamin D can dramatically reduce the effectiveness of Lipitor. So if you are on a cholesterol-reducing drug, specifically Lipitor, and you're taking vitamin D, you should not be taking a large amount of vitamin D as a supplement. You shouldn't be taking any more than 1,000 IUs, and even that is high. The recommended upper limit for persons of in our age group, 19 to 70 years, and even 71 and older, is 800 IUs, no more. 1,000, okay, fine. But I would definitely not be going into the 2,000, 3,000 or higher range, especially if you're on Lipitor. So that's my health service announcement for the day. And I hope everyone is doing well otherwise. Back to you, Steve, N4LQ from K4QE. Oh, one more thing. There's multivitamins formulated specifically for males 50 plus and older. I highly recommend them. And oh, by the way, they already have vitamin D as part of that supplement, so you would not need anything more than a multivitamin supplement for men 50 plus. And over to you, Steve, N4LQ, K4QE.
Okay, thank you very much, Tony. N4LQ. Well, I eat a bowl of Total cereal, and you read the box. It's got every single vitamin in it and 100% of what you need. If you can believe that, there's no regulations on vitamins and minerals as far as FDA is concerned, and they can lie like dogs, so it's hard to tell. And KJ4YEV, eating zinc and selenium, and you are a carbon, I've decided that you're going to turn into a battery. I don't know about that, but anyway, flax oil, I'll have to check that out. This vitamin D I have is 5,000 IUs. There's people on the internet that's supposed to be a nutritionist that say you should take 10,000. You can't take too many vitamin Ds. It's the biggest fad going, I guess. Whatever. Okay. Go ahead, Dave, for another round. WA4LLR, N4LQ.
N4LQ in the group, WA4LR. Steve lovingly refers to his Total as cardboard. And I think Al's going to turn into a selenium rectifier, actually. But that remains to be seen. Good afternoon, Tony. Good to hear you. Sorry you've been under the weather. And Jimmy, congratulations on closing in on the SDR campaign. That's great. Al, I do the honey and the coffee in the mornings myself, so I highly recommend it. Charlie, sounds like you've been busy transporting the daughter. Hope that gets taken care of. And you're talking about the flaxseed oil for joints. Man, I need to take a bath in it. I think you said the brand was Vitacost. You might want to elaborate just a little bit more on your supplier for flaxseed oil the next go around. And Tom, sorry you had the remote antenna switch problems. And interesting to learn that you were a pathologist. Let's see. Boone, you're sounding good. The F-68's always doing a good job. And Glenn, the TS-2000 is doing fine. And good deal on all the 10-meter activity. John, I knew you were on the 500 when you keyed down. And Brian, man, that GRC-9 is doing its thing today. You were bumping 40 over on that first go-round up here. Cliff, the DX-40 sounds really good. And Mark, congratulations on your 1-year anniversary with the old friends. Glad you joined us for sure. Mir, sorry you had the issues with the G76 meter, but I'm sure that the glue will solve it. The DX100 sounds good. And John, I guess we'll have to call you Popeye from all that spinach intake. But your T150 is one of the best sounding rigs on. Stan, good to hear you this evening. The Valiant's doing fine. And Cliff, you're talking about the ham clock deal. If you're not familiar with it, it's a piece of software that simulates the geochron, showing the the Gray Line and the Terminator and so on and so forth, world map. But it also puts up all the current solar space weather conditions, just a tremendous amount of information. You can have it also display DX spots if you want it to, and just a tremendous amount of information, and you get to select what you want it to display. So I didn't want to particularly load it onto a computer, but a little tiny standalone would be really neat to have that thing running. And $49 compared to a Geochron is oh well. So interesting little gadget. It's usually is listed as a ham clock bundle, but I'm trying to find out if it's still available. Anyway, let's see. Band conditions, well, we can probably take a look at space weather and see why they're like they are today. The sunspot number is 100, solar flux index is 170, and the K is 0. So right now, the planetary K index is 0, and which means the geomagnetic field is tremendously stable. A few things on this day in history. On this day in 1930, Clyde Tombaugh discovered Pluto, which was a planet, which is not a planet, which is now a dwarf planet. I wish they'd left Pluto alone. We grew up in school memorizing all the planets. On this day in 1933, Yoko Ono was born. Anyhow, let's see here. What else? On this day in 2010, the website WikiLeaks began posting classified U.S. government documents provided by Army intelligence analyst Chelsea Manning. It was the largest unauthorized release of state secrets in U.S. history. On this day in 2001, stock car racer Dale Earnhardt Sr. died from injuries in the Daytona 500. On this day in 1861, Jefferson Davis was inaugurated as the provisional president of the Confederacy. And on this day in 1546, Martin Luther died at the age of 62. So that's a few things from this day in history. Here comes Stan, WK4R. I'm sorry, W4KR, WA4LR.
Okay, Dave. I knew what you meant, my friend. I knew what you meant. W4, what is this? W4. Oh, someday I'm gonna, without thinking, say this is W8ROIV, but that's no, way back when. Anyway, this is W4KR. Let's see. First of all, Steve, what I said is the elixir that I mentioned is Glenlivet. Glenlivet, it comes from over yonder, up in Scotland someplace, and it's a kind of a brown elixir, if you will. 15-year-old is the especially good one. 18-year-old's too expensive, and 12 is a little bit stiff, but 15 years is really smooth. Anyway, let's see, cereals. Before I get to cereals, Charlie, I'm interested in the flex oil also. Interesting. I'd like to know a little more about it. Where you're getting it, I guess, is the question. Cereals. Total is an excellent. Total's an excellent product. Without question, it's an excellent product. We have one like that. That's we call Special K. That's Total. It's kind of Total almost, but I swing back and forth between one of those two and with the bananas on it. Joan is an eater of is an oatmeal eater that I fix for her every morning. And let me see what else is on the list. All kinds of stuff on the list. Spinach, wonderful product. Love spinach. Have always loved spinach, and it's always been a dogfight in the family here about having spinach because Joan never has gotten to like it. So she will grudgingly, we will arm wrestle, and she will grudgingly put it on the menu every once in a while. The guy who is the former owner of the Dallas Mavericks football team has launched last year a discount prescription drug facility called costplusdrugs.com. Great website, and they can be a real good cost for prescription drugs. And their suppliers are all in the United States, by the way. Anyway, that I think is. Glenn, you mentioned. I was adjusting here. You mentioned Google Maps. Yeah, excellent website. I looked one day. We've been hearing a lot about King Charles's Sandringham place. We looked that up. Looked at that. My goodness, what a spread. His sister, Princess Anne, has quite a layout there too. 700 acre horse farm. Some layout. Oh well. Let's see. With that, last thought, Glenn. If you're home and available Tuesday night, give a listen. Give a listen to the net. I'm in the barrel again next for Tuesday, and K4AMI Eddie Brown's going to give a lengthy report on the overall state of the club, both operationally and financially, and he's going to do that about 7:20. We'll do it after the 6:20 rather. Excuse me. We'll do that. I'll call him for that shortly after the 6:15 call for late check-ins. With that, John, it's coming back in. John, I've never heard you sound this good or this loud. KZ4B. And I'm going to sign with this one. Going to have to run upstairs here in about another 15 minutes or so. KZ4B in the Old Friends Group, W4KR.
Okay, W4KR in the group. This is KZ4 Bravo. Fine business, Stan. Conditions are quite excellent today. I can hear everybody. I mean everybody. I don't hear any interference from my next door neighbor's solar setup or anything else. And signals are generally strong and clear. And that just tickles me to death. Clip, your DX40 sounds good. I don't recall having heard that on. You always have a good come booming in here as you are today. And that's doing very well. And Dave, thanks for the compliment on the audio. I'll try not to let it go to my head. And shifting gears on health food, I get a newsletter and the guy was singing the praises of eating sesame seeds. And I don't remember all the particulars about just exactly, like what kind of a vitamin or chemical that provides. But he was really singing the praises of sesame seeds. And so I thought I'd throw that on the pile. Shifting gears again, I do have a BC610 E as in Echo for sale. I'd like to get $1,000 for it, and the RF deck is very nice looking, and no rust. The modulator and power supply could probably stand to be rewired, but It's all there. I've got all the coils for all the ham bands, or at least most of them, and also the tuning units. Since the requires, I think there's space for 3 tuning units that you can select with a band switch. So you can switch between any 3 bands. And that's just the way it's set up. But they have very good audio. And let's see, I guess that's just about it. I enjoyed it today. I am just tickled with reception. The conditions here lately with the sunspots have not been that good on my end. Signals have generally been down and the noise has been up, but today it's absolutely, you couldn't ask for any better on my end. So, oh, and Mir, your rig is sounding very nice. And so keep it up. WF2U in the group KZ, 4B clear but listening.
Yeah, very good, KZ4B. And the net, this is WF2U. Well, thank you, John, and you are actually taking the prize for the strongest station today, because in this round, you just pegged my S-meter, and before that, the strongest signals were just about 35 to maximum 40 dB over 9, and you went up 2 more divisions, which I assume should be about something like 60 dB. That's the end of the meter. Not literally, but end of the meter movement. And it hit the peg. But and the weakest station today was actually Tony, K4QE at S9 plus 5. Everybody here was like at least 10, 20, 30 dB. I'm not even going to give individual reports. And there is some QSB on some stations, so there might be like 10, 20 dB of fluctuation, but I'm talking about peaks. Very nice conditions. And well, Steve, by the way, I found why the DX100 B was distorting terribly when I tried it on 160. Turns out that I tried to tune it on first on a I have a Heathkit Cantina dummy load, which turns out that it's open. So I guess I tried to tune it on nothing, or just the coax or whatever was going to it. And although I got a dip and everything, but probably it had like a terrible RF feedback or something, because the RF had nothing, nowhere to go. I noticed it today. Just to be sure, I wanted to tune up the DX100B on here on this frequency, and I said, you know, it looks suspicious a little bit, and that I was not getting the proper loading on the dummy load, and the meter showed complete open. I'll have to open it up and see what's going on with it. And so I pulled in my military dummy load, which also has a power meter in it. And lo and behold, it gave me a beautiful dip and loaded properly and everything. So then I listened to it and ascertained that the audio sounds normal, at least here. So I put it on. Anyway, as to vitamins, I'm taking vitamin C, but my holistic doctor said that it's only the best results you get when you take the maximum your body required. By taking a lot, and then if you get diarrhea, just reduce it until the diarrhea stops, and that's the maximum amount that you can take. And it's good for inflammations, which is true. It helps a lot, and various infections. And my go-to oil, I only use olive oil since I was a child. I only use olive oil for everything. And I love avocados. I never eat cereals. The only thing that is close to it is grits. And as to sesame seeds, John, you're right. It's very, very beneficial, and I take it I eat it in the form of tahini, which is the equivalent of peanut butter, but made of sesame. So it's sesame butter, and you use it to make various other dishes too. So I eat that a lot. I eat beans. I've been a vegetarian since the age of 12. So I eat a lot of green veggies, legumes, and as I said, only olive oil. And of course I eat cheese, but not processed, only natural. And I bake my own bread because it doesn't have all the chemicals that they put in store-bought bread. Plus it has a decent consistency too. Only 4 ingredients. So that's... oh yeah, and the other one is I'm taking the joint supplement, the hyaluronic acid and the other stuff that with MSM, which is kind of proactive for arthritis, and so that's the story from this end. So let's give it back to Mark there. KG4IUQ, this is WFW.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Your transmitter sounded really good. I don't recall exactly, but I'd say a year of doing this. I think your DX100B, I guess it is, it's sounding best of all. Very good. And it's interesting that you make your own bread. Steve, I checked out the low voltage choke, the capacitor, filter capacitors for the M1070, and it looked like somebody had clipped the can capacitor leads off and put some other capacitors in there, and I just left it alone. I'll study on that later. And I will say that your signal's very good. Dave, LLR, you're sounding good as always. W4KR Stan, I think you checked out, but the Valiant is sounding good. KZ4B, John, your, I think it's a T150 Night transmitter, sounds good. Cliff, NKL, you're sounding good here. Brian, KN4R, a little light, but I hear everything you're saying. K1VBC, sound very good. The Johnson 500. I'm going to have to look into this receiver you're talking about. I think you said ITT3010C. Anything that you would give a high rating on, I think would probably be really good. I'm going to try to look into that. Glenn, N4AK. Sounds like you're doing DX and have an interest in that. That sounds good. And your sound is very good here. WA4EVK, boom, with the AF-68. Your receiver as a SDR. You're sounding good. Tom, FJQ, you sound good. Charlie, W4MEC, you're sounding really good here. And Al, KJ4YEV, a little light here. You're close to me over in Gastonia, but sounding light for some reason. Jimmy, K4JAL, you have a software-defined radio project that's coming along. You feel good about, and that sounds good there. Tony, K4QE, you're sounding good. I recently have gotten my HP23A power supply by Heath in the mail yesterday. I checked out voltages, and they all check out good. I don't know whether any capacitors need replaced or not yet, but I'm going to wire the power cable tonight, check it out, and see if I can get it to work with the Harvey Wells Bandmaster. Okay, I'm going to turn it over now to Cliff, WB4NKL in the group. This is KG4IUQ.
KG4IUQ is WB4NKL. Okay, Mark. I had a good copy on everybody. I'm running a little Drake 2A receiver, and good signals all the way around. So excellent conditions today. And John, VVC, I look forward to seeing you in Dalton there. I plan on going down, leaving here early Saturday morning with Chuck and Mark, WWC, going down with me. So we should be there about daylight. I'm going to go ahead and say 73's about time for the evening meal here. So enjoyed it. Thanks for calling it, Steve, and we'll be talking to everybody later. Go ahead, Brian, KN4R, WB4NKL.
Cliff. Okay, Cliff, very good. WB4NKL and the old friends. This is Brian, KN4R, returning. All right, very good. Well, it's been very interesting today, all the discussion. I need to start doing honey in my coffee, that's for sure. Local honey. And Jimmy, want to hear more about your SDR transmitter project. That's an interesting thing to me. So, and all I can say about 10 meter AM is keep up the good work there. So I've got grandkids here for the week, and then I have other grandkids for the next week. So we're kind of busy, and I think my wife's getting a little unhappy that I've been up here for a time. So I'm going to say 73s. Enjoyed it, and everybody have a great President's Day tomorrow. K1VVC in the group, KN4R 73s.
Yeah, thank you very much, Brian. KN4R and everybody else, K1VVC. Well, I would say that when Steve first announced at the beginning the subject of supplements, I'll tell you, I was really kind of surprised that it was really pretty interesting. And it was really quite enjoyable to listen to everybody's discussion of the different supplements and what they do. And so there is more to life than ham radio, I guess. Anyhow, we'll see everybody later, and Cliff, see you in Dalton, and I hope somebody else. N4AK from K1VVC.
Okay, John, K1VVC in the group, N4AK. It was an interesting discussion. John, you may be the only one that remembers out of this group when we used to meet at Landrum, North Carolina, a little restaurant up there. I took a picture. I don't have the date, but I think it's probably around 2006, 2007. It might have been earlier. There were 15 of us at the meeting, I took the picture. So, and there are 9 of them that are silent keys already. That's pretty amazing. But it was a good group of guys. So this has been a very nice group of people during the years. Old Friends Net. So I'll pass along my 7-3 and turn it over to you, Boone. WA4EVK, November 4 Alpha Kilo.
N4AK in the group, WA4EVK. Well, have a good evening, Glenn. We're going to have to get together here and have lunch in Pickens again for too long. Got a new diner over here, and it's not too bad. It had to be called diner. You're familiar with the previous one, but one reopened, and you can actually get waited on and eat the food when it arrives. And that's said about that. As far as supplements, of course, I use or eat honey. And I do believe in the allergy part of that because I've read a couple of scientific articles about they have documented that it helps allergies. They think it's from the pollen grains that are in the honey. You do not filter honey to any extent like the size that would take out pollen grains. And in fact, that's the way you can prove where honey's from, is to basically look at the type of pollen and how much of it's in there. Enough on that. I've thoroughly enjoyed it today, guys. I got lucky, and whichever neighbor of mine it is, it turns into a noise generator on Sunday evening and afternoon. Only ran whatever it was for an hour or two after lunch, and then shut it down. So I've had great reception. Everybody's had a strong signal. And with that, I'm going to say 73s and sign out of here also. And turn it on over to WA4FJQ, WA4EVK.
WA4EVK in the group WA4FJQ. Okay, thanks, Boone. Copying everybody very well. I've got to go too. I got a pork roast to put on the grill. Time's flying. I'll leave it with just this thought that every time you pick up a bottle of vitamins and it's got some strength to it, so many international units, IU units, keep in mind that those limits and so forth were established back in the late 30s, early 40s by the federal government when they were trying to get a handle on famine and diseases like pellagra and so forth that were rife all through the country during the Depression era. Those standards haven't been updated at all, as far as I know. And you can imagine the assays that were done and how crude they were back in that time period. So just keep that little factoid in the back of your head when you look at the various strengths of E and D and B and so forth. Anyway, time to go. Enjoyed the discussion. And we'll say 73s, and we'll turn it over to Charlie, W4MEC. This is WA4FJQ, off and clear.
Okay, Tom, WA4FJQ and the group W4MEC. I haven't read that email about that scope. I'll check it later there, Tom. And yeah, the honey thing, I think I was talking to Boone about it. There is a mileage limit to that, so if Boone raises honey over there in Pickens, it's good for, what, 75 miles or something? And then you need to find a honey guy closer to you because of the difference in the plants for that medicinal plus to work. And asked about where the flax oil is, FLAX, and flaxseed and barleans, BARLEANS, and you don't need the one with extra lignin, whatever that is. You don't need that. I think that's a blue label and the regular is a brown label. Go get you a little bottle, 16-ounce bottle or something from VitaCost. VitaCost.com is about the cheapest place you can find it. And give it a month. You got to give it at least a month, 2 to 3 weeks.
You don't take it and expect immediate results, but when I first started taking it and first noticed what it did besides curing my shoulder, is I was killing myself working in the yard one Saturday and got up next Sunday and absolutely nothing hurt. So I said, wait a minute, I should be worn out dead, and absolutely I worked. Everything is just perfectly fine. So I take a tablespoon and a little bit of orange juice, mix it in there, or you can put it on a salad, or you can drink it, but you don't want to cook with it. And you got to remember, I know Steve mentioned his grandfather there, living to be 96, I think, but you know, what we're dealing with now, the reason we're taking vitamins is because they took it all out of the food, processed food, and they put it back in, you know, but it's like Total, you know, cereals and things like that, where they take all the good stuff out of the grains, and you might as well eat the box, to be honest with you. So they got to put the chemicals, put the vitamins back in there that they took out through the processing. So, and look at you got wheat now with no gluten in it. I mean, you might that's one of the key ingredients. The reasons to eat is to eat wheat, you know. So, but you know, that's a whole different argument. So, anyway, my wife makes bread too. She makes spelt bread. Spelt flour goes back to biblical times, and diabetics can eat it because it doesn't do to the blood what normal breads do, and because of the sugar content. So there's a lot of good and a lot of misinformation and a lot of good information out there about all this stuff. But one of the big pioneers was Adele Davis. She had a couple books out there, and some people have dismissed her over the years, but there's a lot of things in her books that still work and work well. So anyway, so let's see. I got to look at my list here, and it goes to KJ. Oh yeah, I'm going 73 round 73 all. We'll see you on Tuesday morning. KJ4YEV in the group. W4MEC.
W4MEC in the group. KJ4YEV. Since the net began, my noise level has risen dramatically. I think it's something local close by me here. I've heard this before, but I'm still able to copy everybody, but the noise is right up there with everybody's signal, so it's kind of a difficult copy there. But other than that, I'm hearing everybody pretty clear. And Dave, I hope I don't turn into a selenium rectifier. Those things are known to stink and give off noxious fumes when they get old, and I don't want to do that. So I'm gonna try not to turn into a selenium rectifier by taking too much selenium. And with that, I'm gonna pass along my best 73s to all. It's been a good net today. Always enjoy this net. So I believe I heard, I believe it's Jim or Jimmy K4JAL come in after me. I was the tail gunner there, but if you're still in there, it's your turn. K4JAL, KJ4YEV.
Yeah, Jimmy signed, but I'll take it. This is K4QE, Tony. And all right, very good. Well, for those of you who want to run ham clock on your PC, I just emailed instructions on how to do it. They're a little bit complicated, but I think most of you guys should be able to do it. And if anybody needs any help with it, I'm happy to help out. That way you can run ham clock directly on your existing PC, assuming you're running Windows 10 or Windows 11. Sorry, but you guys running anything older than that, it's simply not going to work. So that's it. I thank you. I want to thank everyone for the center reports, and good to hear everybody this afternoon, and looking forward to hearing everybody next week. So back to you, Steve, N4LQ from K4QE.
All right, Tony, thanks a lot. Let's see, question. I need some clarification from Charlie on this flaxseed. I went to Vitacost.com, and I put in flaxseed, and I got pills and capsules, and got lignon, flax oil, but it sounds like you're just getting the liquid and you just pour it on in a spoon or something. Is that what you're doing? And this says Barleans, vegan, omega flax, and alga oil. And here's something that's pure flaxseed oil in soft gel. So I'm confused. Can you clear that up? W4MEC, go ahead.
Well, I'll try, but it's Barlean's flax oil. It's an all brown label. If it has blue on it, it has lignin in it, and it's liquid. It comes in a kind of a black bottle with a brown label, and all that's in it is flax oil. And yeah, just a tablespoon. Either take it on a tablespoon, or I mix it with orange juice, a little bit of orange juice. But yeah, I'd have to go on the site and try and see what you're looking at. But it's a black bottle with a brown label, and nothing in it but flax oil. So if it's got anything else, it's not what I'm talking about.
Let's see. Here's Marlene's Organic Fresh Flax Oil, black bottle with kind of red band with white letters. Says flax oil, organic, unfiltered, freshly cold pressed, America's best-selling omega-3. Huh, thought that was fish oil. Does that sound right to you?
Yeah, I'll take a look. That sounds like what it says on the label. And the cold press is because if you use hot press, and some places do, it destroys all the goodness in the oil. So that's why they advertise cold press. So that sounds like it.
Yeah, just want to be sure I got the right stuff. And if you can send a link, that would help too. This stuff's $40 for a 32-ounce bottle. That's a pretty good jug. 32 ounces. Okay. I'll wait to hear from you again, but or maybe I can send you this link and you can look at it and say, yep, that's it. Well, guys, thanks a lot. It's been a great net, and we'll say 73s. And next net will be Tuesday at 9 o'clock in the morning. And, of course, 160 at night, 8 p.m. every night on 1864 kilo cycles. 73s, everybody. This is N4LQ closing the Old Friends Net.